Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and we're a couple days removed from the latest balance patch, that very large one that everybody was super happy about. And my hot take yesterday certainly did get people pissed off at me for not destroying Blizzard over what has been a very contentious patch. And I don't know. Again, we'll probably talk about it more tomorrow. How, first off, I didn't communicate myself very well, where I feel like people are thinking I'm happy with standard in the current state of things. I just think Blizzard has shot themselves so far in the foot that I don't know how else they could get out of what they're in other than just waiting for rotation, like other than like mass nerfs, mass buffs. Regardless, we'll talk about that tomorrow. If I pissed you off tomorrow or yesterday, I apologize, but we have a lot of decks to recommend today. We actually have 14 standard decks, 5 wild decks. It's just not a lot of new stuff, right? There is some in there. There's some cool stuff in there, but overall, it's a diverse meta, a balanced meta outside of Rogue being silly as always, but it's not a ton of fun, and there's not a ton of new stuff. So regardless, I got decks for you guys before that mini set comes out. If you want to stay tuned for when that mini set's announced, we'll be reviewing cards, all that good stuff. Please hit that sub button down below. Give the video a like, as it helps the channel out a lot. So post-patch, as predicted, Rogue, by far the best deck at high legend, doing really well. Basically, it only starts to not be the most popular deck, basically diamond up to legend, and before that it's Murloc Paladin, which I won't recommend to climbing to legend still. I think there's a better Paladin deck, but regardless, this deck is doing incredibly well. It does have some new cards in here like Opu, mostly because it's 6 cost, but against like the aggro Paladins can be really nice, getting that AoE, that card draw. Of course, Elise, one of the major standouts of this expansion, doing really well. And you mainly struggle with this deck in the early game. You don't have a ton of early tempo stuff, although you can scam a little bit with like Creature of Madness, maybe a good Nightmare Fuel. But the idea of the deck is you really want Sandbox Scoundrel, which gives you that miniaturized minion, which then you can like hit Naralax, and then the Naralax can cheat out a Fyrakk. It could cheat out a Ysera, give you that big swing, and then you have like infinite value effectively in the late game with like Ashamane, Shaladrizzle, because you need an 8-cost card. So this deck can do basically anything. It's got more late game validity too, with like Grifta, can give you healing, removal, draw, and it seems to be a deck people really enjoy. It's just likely a bit overtuned, and it's got prep and steps. So Zeddy bad, right? But overall, I think it's a lot healthier to face this than cycle Rogue over and over, and it is absolutely one of the best decks to play on the ladder, and the more you play it, the better you get with it, the more it should do well for you. Just be aware that, yeah, the early game, it could struggle against those really aggressive decks, which we will highlight some of those if you want to punish the rogues out there. Quest Warlock is looking like the second best deck in the game. Quest Warlock is legit, it's good. It got buffed that you only have to play 5 temporary cards instead of the 6, and the reward is only 3 mana. So sometimes you can get extra with like Tidepool Pupil, and the whole idea is just complete that quest as fast as possible. That's why we have Sketch Artist here with just the 1 shadow spell, Solarium, because you just really want to draw that card to get that quest done. And then your Sketch Artist, well, if you've already drawn your Solarium, you can just feed it to your Rift later, right? And you have a lot of damage to also assist with that, with like Corpsicle, Horizon's Edge, and very low curve deck. Again, all about completing that quest, and then you can fuel it even more with mass production. You could cycle, get a bunch of these, and then feed that to the Rift. And we even got like Wisp, right? Just Wisp in there for something to play for cheap, particularly temporarily, and Cursed Catacombs is just an absolutely insane card. So one of the newer decks, it's a new deck this expansion that is absolutely thriving, and you cannot go wrong playing with it. Aggro DH, still really good deck, especially with Rogue being as popular as it is. Play a lot of cheap early game, a lot of bursts. You can kill those rogues. Also kind of the Quest Warlocks too. So it kind of goes into that meta pretty well. You got Ziliax with Haywire module and Power module. Basically, if it's unanswered, you're gonna kill somebody because it's like a 10-7, which is really good. But we've seen this deck for a while, and we've got like King Mukla in there for that early aggression to get punished, kind of those slower, like like, again, the rogue decks of the world, and newer cards like Insect Claw is absolutely awesome card, as well as Infestation. So again, we got some new stuff in here, but overall, yeah, certainly a deck we've seen time and time again. Cliff Dive Demon Hunter is trending really well again with the 7 mana Cliff Dive, and yes, Califero the Artist apparently is worth running. I haven't tried this out at all, but if you want to give this a go, you have the cards. It's trending as like a tier 1, tier 2 deck at Legend, and you have like the Blob of Tar and the Ravenous Fellhunter, which you can keep spamming with Return Policy, and then yeah, you have a bunch of these like blobs or the slimes or whatever. You can Califero and possibly high roll an Illidari or a Magtheridon or another Fellhunter and just do gross stuff. So yeah, this deck's trending pretty well. You want to give it a try, and again, we have the new cards in here like Infestation and Insect Claw. Blobatar is new as well. Next we have Beast Hunter, which is really thriving again with a lot of the new additions from this set. Particular Supreme Dinomancy is just such a crazy card. You stick any beast board, it's so many stats you're hitting, plus it's buffing your stuff in hand. You have City Chief Esho, that new card. You can buy that signature for a lot of money. Beast buff up all your beasts, and yeah, overall I don't know if there's anything else too much new about it, but Fetch draws you like 2 cards. You got Cower and Fear, right? This card as well, brand new from the set, letting you remove something while developing the same turn. Pretty good to get basically 0 mana removal with your beast deck, and it's not a top trending deck. This is actually, should probably have it a bit lower on the list, but I wanted to kind of highlight some of the more aggressive options if you're trying, again, to counter those rogues. Protoss Priest, I'm sure you've seen a lot of it. It's good. It's not like super like OP or anything, but the best card by far, Resuscitate, the new card from this expansion. It's just bonkers, bringing back a Sentry, bringing back Catch of the Day, bringing back Void Ray. Not only is it really hard to remove that board, but you're getting all that mana cheat for your mothership, and then it comes down for dirt cheaping and just do really ridiculous things. And Trusty Fishing Rod is just so nuts with cheating out Catch of the Day, or after a Sentry has gone live or a Photon Cannon, getting one of those out. So still a deck you can absolutely climb with, and you'll get my salt whenever you're playing Protoss Priest. But again, it's absolutely worthy to play. Deathlight, there's 2 decks that are really standing out. First, just Triple Blood DK, always pretty solid out there. You know, the Kill Jaden thing. You got High Cultist Heron, one of the new legendaries, to just cheat out some starships, you know, basically it. Nothing else too crazy there. Elise to copy up and take advantage of that stuff, and of course, yeah, Kill Jaden, infinite value, all that fun stuff we're not all entirely sick of. And we got the twin module, perfect module Nerziliax for a ton of healing, so a pretty decent control option with, again, you can have just that scam with the starship stuff and win that way with like a bajillion armor. I'm gonna highlight Theo's Double Blood on Holy deck that he's been doing really well at top 100 legend with. No Kill Jaden, but you do have like Marin for a bunch of value, and then you're basically just playing a lot of good stuff. There's nothing too crazy with this list. You got some good early game, you just got a bunch of tokens to play the early game, like Blob of Tar, Reluctant Wrangler, one of the new cards of this expansion, of course Elise, but even like Grifta, just to like steal something, get some draw, get some value, and then Foam Render to kind of punish the slower decks or try and kill a rogue, right? Like that could just be a lot of damage over time, and just, you know, the usual type of control shell in here, and all the cards you really need to have Elise work, like your Ceaseless, like your Shaladrisel, and all that stuff. And again, Celiax, twin module, perfect module. If you're not looking for that Kill Jaden strategy, a bit more of a proactive thing with like Hideous Husk, this deck also seems to be pretty good. For Paladin, Aggro Paladin seems to be the deck of choice. Really good at countering those rogues out there, just spamming little garbage cards, just spamming them. And like the best card in this deck is Busybot. Like that's the card you really want to mulligan for, is Busybot. Muster for battle, try and stick something, and then you got Crusader Aura and Flash Sale, Ziliax in there with the Pylon module, ticking module. Very all in aggro deck. You lose your board early on, it's basically over, right? There's not much refilling of the board, there's not much catch-up mechanics, it's all in aggro, so be aware of that. Relatively cheap deck too, and yeah, if you're facing a lot of rogue, it might be a deck you want to try out. This deck is is the deck that got me to Legend, is Spell Quest Mage. I'm not running Orb, the 10-mana spell. You could certainly run that, just take out like Story of the Waygate. Like, you don't have to not run it, but typically when I play it, it's too much, and I might just fatigue myself to death with Manufacturing Error. It's like the only 5 cost majority of the time, and that can be pretty brutal. But with the Forbidden Sequence, the newly buffed quest, the main idea is get the quest done as quickly as possible, of course, and then play something like a Spark of Life, where you could get a Yogg in the box, which I just had happen against a Rogue today. They Fyrakked me on 5, and then I Yogged in the box them on 6, and scammed the back and won, so I was happy, because I beat a Rogue. And of course, Relic of Kings is really good with that reward, and this deck, compared to the minion version, way better at contesting aggression with like Malfunction, with the Sea Breeze, the Sea Breeze Chalice, and just a really fun deck. You never know if you're gonna win or lose with this thing, because it's so random, so chaotic, and definitely one of my favorite decks of this expansion, although there's not a ton to pick from, and it's even making use of Pocket Dimension, which is pretty cool. So again, I highly recommend it for the fun value. It's not super top tier, it's Legend capable, absolutely, but yeah, you just never know what's going to happen. Another deck I'm really enjoying this expansion, although not a new deck, is Nebula Shaman, which just got a lot of stuff to set, right? Like Elise is really helpful with it. Getting those locations can be super helpful, but Flight of the Firehawk is such an incredible card of tutoring specific minions. Hitting something like a Bumbling Bellhop, hitting something like a Murloc Rofin is really good. This list running Cabaret Headliner now seeing some play because you could discount, yeah, Nebula, discount out a Wish Upon a Star, a Frosty Decor, can be quite nice. Arziliax, his Twin Module Perfect module, and it's just a pretty cool deck. It just struggles against Rogue, I have to say, and a bit of the early game aggression. This version's not running Baking Soda Volcano, so be aware of that. You really need those minions, early minions, to help carry you, but I really enjoy this deck entirely, and I do recommend it, and hopefully it continues to be a pretty good deck. Mech Warrior, I'm sure you're sick of seeing this already, with the whole part scrapper into target dummy. Really got boosted up this expansion because of Elise. That location could do a lot of good work, as well as Umbra recasting those death rattles from your testing dummies, which you can proc even more with like your Recom and Decum, your Inventor Boom. Ziliax is the Virus Module Perfect module, because if you cheat that out, you rather, you know, kill something, and also way better with Inventor Boom. And yeah, very much a scam deck, pretty gross what it can do. Mixologist can even like resurrect one of your big minions if you get lucky. And yeah, if you manage to stick a turtle on the board, we got Crazed Alchemist in there for a possible OTK. Quest Starship Warrior is like just above 50%. Not amazing, but not terrible. It's climbable, but it's going to be a bit of a slog. But you get the new quest in there, Enter the Lost City, where you get all those quest rewards. You really want Time Warp, because then you can launch your giant starship and murder your opponent, because you have like the Yamato cannon in there for some tempo. Arcanite Defense Crystal giving you armor. You can relaunch these starships with Jim Raynor, and of course you got Exodar in there to help you out. And yeah, it's a pretty good deck, but again, very slow, very matchup dependent, and I wouldn't recommend it for a fast climb. But if you want to make use of Enter the Lost City, this is probably the best way of going about it. And we still have one more deck to recommend, a Druid deck that just got nerfed, that is definitely worse, but still playable. Amir Tristle at 5 mana. Still a really good card. It's not outright broken like it was at 4, but it's still pretty good. And the rest of the deck remains the same, where you want to cycle through your deck, get to that Alonius, maybe copy it up again with that Elise. You have tutors in here now, a new tutor from this expansion in Story of Barnabas to draw that, maybe give you 5 armor, maybe give you that 5 health, and it's pretty darn good when it hits like Ancient of Yore with your Mista Bista, and of course Alonius itself, and or even Ziliax, right? And it doubles on that that whole copy thing with Twin Module perfect modules. So yeah, the deck is not as good as it used to be, but I could certainly still recommend it. Hand Buff Hunter, the stats don't look as good, so I'm not going to recommend that one, thankfully, because it's just really a toxic deck, at least in my opinion. And then yeah, Wild, obviously not super impacted by these changes. We'll recommend Libram Paladin, is always good. Get your Librams really cheap with your Star Slicer, with your Aldor Tenant, and just go from there. Just play a lot of 0 mana cards, you know, draw with your Interstellar Researcher, get that lethal in there, possibly Chillblade Champion, 0 mana Light Rays, and of course just the busted combination in every Paladin deck of Showdown into Prismatic Beam is really darn good. Discard Warlock, probably the most popular deck in Wild. It's still very good with Cursed Catacombs hitting whatever card, because it could be a Soul Barrage, it could be Fist of Jaraxxus now, it could be better in some situations. Of course, you really want your early game with your Platasaur, your Malkazar's Imp, and just snowball possibly like Wicked Whispers into Bone Web Ebb. Can be absolutely gross, and yeah, really solid deck, really gross deck, but absolutely one I can recommend. I got my Wild Legend finally done, partly with the most brain dead deck in the entire meta, but it's pretty good when you're editing videos and doing other things where you barely have to pay attention. In Holy Wrath Paladin, where yes, you play Holy Wrath, you hit them for 125 and you set it up with cards like Sharp-Eyed Lookout, your Overplanner, your Dredge cards, and you have the anti-aggro in there with Showdown Prismatic Lens, which can just win games. And it's a bit of a silly deck. I got Tight-Lipped Witness in there as well to get around Ice Block, which can be very relevant for those Hostage Mages. I'm not going to recommend Hostage Mage because the win rate on it, they're good, but it is such a slow deck that I can never truly recommend it for climbing. So yeah, Holy Wrath Paladin, it's brain dead, at least in my opinion. It's so brain dead, it got me to Legend, at least partially. I did one other deck, which we'll talk about in a second. Not this one, which is also pretty easy to play in Big Shaman, where you just, you know, Fairy Tale Force, get Muckmorpher, cheat out one of these. Maybe I reincarnate my Thunderbringer and get a billion stats and win, right? Or you could Ancestors Call out a giant minion, and that's really the deck. That's all you're doing, but it's still very effective, and I recommend it all the time because it's just always good in Wild. And the other deck I played, which is even more solitary than Paladin, but definitely not as easy to play, the Dungar Druid, where you want to get Dungar out and then you get like Yasel, Eonar, Malagos, and then nuke your opponent. But basically it's all about Yasel because she can refresh all those mana crystals with like Sleep Under the Stars or summon more minions with Nightshade Bud, and then nuke your opponent. And you got billion ramp cards and try and stay alive healing with Pendant of Earth or using your swipes as removal. It's definitely weaker to aggro, but my goodness, it can OTK really fast, and I had a pretty decent climb with it for the most part. I just, you know, I had to go with the smooth brain Holy Wrath Paladin to finish the deal. So there you go. There's a lot of decks before that mini set comes out. It's just, again, a lot of stuff we're kind of bored with for the most part. There's a little bit of everything though. So hopefully you can find some fun before that mini set comes out that will hopefully shake things up. And yeah, tomorrow we'll do a bit of a meta dive and hopefully clarify some things, because I don't know, I must have done something wrong in yesterday's video of just not communicating as well as I have, and I guess that happens when you release a video every single day for like the last over 5 years. Like it's going to happen. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.